All right. We are live in Studio ROX. We're doing a little bit different things today. Not quite sure what we're doing at the moment. Sure, we'll figure it out as usual. But we have Mr. Gran, our high-tech redneck, in the studio. We've got the buttery sounds of Mr. Wallace sitting next to us, and Ray is missing in action. Hope he is okay.
Our little ray of sunshine.
He's here virtually. Hi, Ray. How you doing?
He's a hi, Ray. So we're gonna make fun of Ray the entire time, and hopefully, hopefully he's okay. Maybe he was just traveling or not feeling well. I think he did say he was doing some traveling or something. I don't remember, but
Or it's a fan club thing. Who knows?
yeah, it's a fan. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He has fans. I bet you. You know what? He's doing autographs, guys. That's what it is. It's. He's gonna do Technology Rocks Ray style, and he's going to have his own fan club thing. So speaking of fan clubs, I am sitting next to a really cool looking coffee cup, courtesy of your high tech redneck, Mr. Gran, that says Technology Rocks on the coffee cup, and other fun toys. We were actually talking about putting some stuff together for our listeners, maybe to purchase option where they could maybe get a coffee cup, hats, t-shirts, all kinds of fun stuff that we have in the works, and should be good fun. So, all right, where are we starting off, guys?
Well, I wanted to start off with a cautionary tale.
Oh, cautionary tale! I'm telling
Cautionary
you.
tale.
It's not supposed to burn, and
No.
everybody pees, so it's fine.
No, not that kind of cautionary
Oh,
tale.
sorry. All right. Go ahead. What's going on?
Well, Friday the 13th started with a bang.
Yes, it was the world's most boring Super Bowl.
No, that was the weekend before when we didn't even get to watch the Super Bowl because Xfinity decided to set fire to one of their fiber cabinets, and it was offline from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. or something like that.
Oh, wow. So you had a whole neighborhood with
Oh, well, not just a neighborhood. I think it was like on the outage map, it said over 5,000, but that's their biggest thing for showing how many people are out. So,
there was internet and cable TV?
Yeah, the whole shooting
I
match.
bet they stock plummet.
Oh, man. I bet you there's a bunch of pissed off people on that one, for sure.
But anyway, that was like, what was that, last weekend, just after we did our Super Brawl special. But no, Friday the 13th started with me trying to copy some files from my phone to my PC, pictures where I store them, and I thought there was a problem with the phone because I kept getting error message on the PC. So reboot the PC, reboot the phone, plug it in, try a different cable. And then at some point it decided to just not reboot the PC, and basically the hard drive, or one of them, is not firing up, not spinning up. So cautionary tale is make sure you do backups of everything on your computer.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Be clause to that end. Do backup is one thing, but make sure you test the backups that they restore, because when you need them to restore and they don't work, is a bad time to find out that they don't work.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is to do them. But yeah. So anyway, but I have backups spread across various platforms. But the one that did let me down was Norton Backup, which is part of Norton 360 antivirus product. And it was supposedly backing up my documents every week, and it turns out it hadn't been doing it. So I'm relying on a local hard copy backup that I made a little while ago. But I don't think I've lost anything. But I do have to rebuild the PC from scratch because it won't even boot up without that disk in.
I'm so you're so disappointed in that.
Well,
It's annoying.
you know, when you rebuild, you always go bigger and better.
Well, I'm talking about I've just got to put a new hard disk in this computer and then reinstall Windows. And try not to log into Windows because I don't like to do that, but they make you do it now.
So that was a rough weekend. So Comcast crashed.
Well, that was the 6th, 7th. That was the last week.
Oh, okay. So not on the same day then.
No, this was 2 days ago.
Oh, good grief. All right.
That I had the hard disk problem. But various other things happened on that day, and I was sorely tempted to not go out in the car at all, anywhere. Like,
Sit in my cave,
walk to the mailbox
and that's it.
rather than drive just down the end of the road and back.
No, I gotcha. All right. What about you, Byron? How did you enjoy your world's crappiest Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl wasn't crappy. It's a defensive game, and I liked it. But the after effects is what hurt my pockets the most, because I talked to my friend who I am beginning to reevaluate our friendship, because every time I talk to him, I come out with less money in my pocket.
Oh,
Well, that's called charitable donation.
You know, but
wait.
I mean, I know.
See,
all
I
about
know where
that.
you're going with this line of bull, and I hit the wrong button. That was supposed to be a beep, and that was the intro. But I'm still my thought still stays. I know exactly where you're going with this bull, and let's have this conversation, because I was told by one of our listeners, which by the way is one of your fans, and to be nice to you. And my words directly to that person, and I quote, were, Byron, because if she knew and Mr. Ron knew how much of a manure truck you dump on my lawn on the daily basis, then I once again reillustrate the Byron. So go ahead. Tell your story, please, sir. I
So-
thought you were talking about
so
a bad
Ed,
Super Bowl
Ed,
bet. is
You're
what
the
I was
sensible
talking
party here. Now you do the judge. So the Super Bowl wasn't a bad part. I mean, I liked it.
game is because when you look at the game and it get blown out or whatever.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
That's Super Bowl trash talk.
Hey, so anyway, so I talked to my buddy. He comes. I rehired him. First, I fired him. You remember that? But I rehired him. I gave him a second chance,
So did you fire Ray?
partially.
Well, that's why.
Is
probably
that
didn't-
why he's not
Yeah,
here?
he didn't want to come. He's
Hey,
like,
I partially fired him, but then I told him I'll find him another job. Don't worry. You won't be unemployed long.
mowing the lawn.
Oh, that's bad.
No, being the quality Ian, being the quality control checker for Justin. He comes behind Justin and makes sure Justin does what he's
Yeah.
supposed
All right. So you talk to your friend. So tell me about this conversation with your little friend.
So I talked to my little friend,
Hello.
and he came, and I must agree, he did a tremendous job on the TV calibrations. So, which led to another conversation,
I did hear about the TV calibration.
right? Which led to another conversation. So the conversation that it led to was, I think you should get a Sonos Arc and 2 ERAs in which it makes surround sounds in.
I've heard. I've heard the other side
False.
of this story.
False. That is a giant load of that did not happen. Mr. Wallace had said, I'm thinking about getting a Sonos soundbar and a couple surrounds for my bedroom.
No,
I didn't
I
say.
was thinking about doing surround sound.
nice in your bedroom with your crappy LG TV, a Sonos soundbar, and
That was the suggestion.
surrounds. That is not what I
So
said.
I said, I'm thinking about doing surround sound in the bedroom. He says, well, all you need is a Sonos soundbar with 2 speakers, and that should be fine.
No, I said all you need is a sound bar.
Period.
Period. Full stop. That's what I said.
Full stop. Yes.
Well, fast forward 3
As
clicks.
he assaults
Hey.
the microphone.
Fast forward 3 clicks. Now I have the Sonos soundbar and 2 ERA 100 speakers to give me surround sound.
Objection, Your Honor. I have questions. One, was there a firearm held to your head before you click the mouse to purchase the? Actually, let's back up a tick. Did you actually purchase the soundbar from Justin?
No.
Ah,
but,
okay.
but, Your Honor, may I interject?
I rest my case.
Justin
No further questions.
Justin was the contributing factor because he says, oh, I found this one and I found this one, and I think this would be a better option if you do this one.
Objection, Your Honor. I would like to point out a load of bull. on this topic because you were about to make a bad decision and order one off eBay. And I said, I found a link on Sonos.com where you could buy a refurbished one for half the price of a brand new one.
Who's the person that found the one on eBay and sent it to me?
You had already were looking on eBay. You said you found one that was beaten worse than it was just beaten.
So anyway, I ended up getting this purchase in the soundbar based on the link he sent me, and it was like,
So I saved you money, didn't make any money, and yet I'm still being called out.
no, you're not being called out. You're just being labeled as a influencer and a great marketing rep.
But I didn't tell you to get. I didn't tell you to buy the Sonos soundbar.
You say it'd be better if I had a soundbar on television.
That's not what I said. You said you were thinking about putting surround sound in your bedroom.
Correct. That is a fact.
Okay. Arrest my case.
But at the end of the day, once the dust settles, I have a Sonos ARC soundbar and two ERA100.
That he bought on his own accord, clicked with his own mouse, and whipped out his own credit card and did that.
And a half of a Kaleidescape.
And he bought half of a Kaleidescape. Yes.
A Collide.
Half of a Kaleidescape. I don't have the skate part.
You don't
right.
have the skate
I don't have the
part yet.
skate part right. I just got the
He's
Collide.
already picking out movies, though. He's already looking at movies. Picking out movies. But what he paid for the Sonos soundbar and surrounds and the sub,
What's the great deal?
he could have.
Oh, and the sub.
He could have finished paying
Where's
for
the
the rest
sub?
of the
Under the
Kaleidescape.
bed?
No, I already had this up. It's gone under the bed though.
Yeah.
Trying to put some spice in the bedroom.
Oh, this was a Valentine's Day gift, wasn't it?
Putting a little rumble in the jungle. Trying to get some rumble in the jungle.
Did you was this a Valentine's Day gift because you bought yourself a Kaleidescape? Was this a guilt purchase?
You don't know about that. Hush.
Does she not listen to the show?
No.
She doesn't listen to the show.
On
No, G
purpose.
thinks I'm a nerd too.
purpose.
She was like, "Oh, so it's just all four of you all the time on the show?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, we'll have guests at some point. You know, we were planning to have guests and stuff." And she was like, "You guys are nerds." And I'm like,
Well,
I mean,
hey,
She called me a nerd.
she called you a nerd.
but tell her next time, Justin. Say we got a promotion. We used to be geeks.
That's true. It's a good point.
Yeah. We're actually mug retailers now.
That's true. Mug retailers and hats, shirts, mugs, pens, size
Keyboards,
14
pens,
shoes.
Size 14.
So whatever you need, you get us your size, and
We'll
we will
put
get
our logo on it.
it. Exactly.
All sorts of
And
accessories.
send you a nice thank you card.
All right, so Byron spent money. He's not whining about his Cat 5 cable anymore.
No.
And
my friend came and
his friend came
He
and
took care of my Cat 5 cable, and he took care of my calibration of my horrible looking TV.
it was horrible looking. I will admit
I
that
have
it was
heard.
it was bad.
I have
Yeah,
heard
no, it
that
was
you
bad.
couldn't improve it too much either, but
No, the LG one in the bedroom, yeah, you're screwed on that one. That was just a OG LG, and it's kind of fun to say OG LG. It was OG LG, and there's what is LCD panel, not much you can do with it.
Edge lit.
OG
Yeah.
LG is the new ACDC.
That's true, or a Samsung, Sony, or Hassan. Yes,
No,
no.
it's just-
So
A Samsony.
Samsung. Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
hey,
a
what it is,
Samsung. Hey, if
Logan-
you're gonna make fun of it, you got to get the make fun of part right.
Hey, what is it? Logan Martin?
Yeah, Logan Martins. Yes.
Logan Martin.
Yeah, Logan Martins. Yes, no. That see if everybody's paying attention there. So, yeah. So I'm gonna kind of fill you on the Hisense. I still hate them. But if you want to make your Hisense TV look better, turn all the motion garbage off, because the one thing the Hisense struggles with is the fast motion and motion smoothing, and it's almost like somebody blinking for you if it has a fast moving object. So that was one of the things that I did that drastically improved the picture, because it was unwatchable when I got in, so I could see why he was whining about it so much.
I believe you got the remote to work as well.
Yes, we did get the remote to work with discrete codes from the URC database, so we did fix the remote for him, so now he has discrete codes on the input. Man, you must have a really smart friend.
I got a really good friend
He's probably got several smart friends.
that you fired.
that I fired and I rehired.
Mm. Yep. So, yeah, no. So I did see it, and it did have a problem. So that definitely was verified, and we kind of got it cleaned up a little bit, and then and the kind of the before and after. Now again, my viewpoint still stands on the 98-inch basic 98-inch TV category. It's just, in my opinion, if you were to look at that television and look at the spectrum, so a 55-inch version of that television is about $300. 65 is about $700. 85 or 75 is,
Are you talking MSRPs?
yeah, no, $895. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's, and then so his was like what, $1,600 and some change.
What?
Your TV. Thank you for paying attention so closely.
No, my TV was less than that.
Oh, see, there we go.
It was
I
on
rest my
Amazon
case.
Prime for $9.99.
Okay, so $9.99 for a 100-inch
He
TV.
told us it was a $9.99.
Yeah, so $9.99 for a 90-inch TV. So in my opinion, what you're doing is you're buying a $300 TV, and you've basically built a 98-inch version of it. So yes, it's big, but the problem is, and again, my thought process still stands. It's still amplifying imperfections of what you would see on a smaller screen. Now they're more noticeable because it's a larger screen. So it's just, I mean, are there great TVs and great values out there? Absolutely. If you want a big freaking TV, then $1,000 isn't a bad deal. And I still think that's unfathomable to see a 98-inch TV for a grand. But we did clean it up quite a bit. It's still not perfect. It still has some issues that it's going on, but it's as good as we can get it with what we had. Here's what I was impressed with it. It had the 20 set white point curve, so you could, if you actually had a meter or a SMPTE color bar generator, you could actually go into that 20 white point set, the triangle, to get a little bit further than that. We'll have to get Ray, because I think Ray actually has one of those, and that would be cool to see if we could get it a little further. The thing that I noticed that it struggled with the most was when you started jumping into the brightness and contrast, the entire color palette changed, and that's not normal. Usually the brightness, it had a lot of blooming we had to get rid of on the white, and a lot of blooming on the black, which made things look murky and muddy. But there wasn't a lot of individual adjustment in that spectrum of it that you would see with the better television. So my thing is, still get what you pay for sure. But for a grand, you can't be mad at it.
And hindsight, 2020, I would, at the same day that I paid $1,000 for that one, they had the mini.
Oh, I wish you had done the $500 more.
They had the mini LED for $500 more.
That would have been cool. Ian's still looking at the TCL, so he and I were kind of looking at different TVs. Ian pulled it up.
I found a good website.
Yeah, this is a great. I don't know if you know about this one. You should check this one out too.
It was
Ratings.
It's like ratings without the A. It's RTINGS.
Yeah, ratings.com without the A. And it's awesome. You can actually look at, and so these cats have this giant warehouse, and all they do is bring stuff in, bench test it, tell you what they think about it, and throw it out. That's all they're doing. And they're not getting paid, so it's not any fuzzy money consumer report crap where you got to sign up for a membership. It's quite accurate information.
They do a lot of very deep tests.
And you do not want to see what your Hisense was rated on this website.
But and I was telling Ray this last week.
The Ray that's not here, the Ray the Forgotten.
The virtually Ray.
We're going to call it Ray the Forgotten.
I never really purchased a TV.
Ray is not forgotten.
I never really purchased a TV based on...
We know it's
features.
based on price.
And but I'm learning, so next major purchase, it's going to be,
Based on
more
price.
So here's what you got to be careful on with TVs
sorta.
like that. There's a lot of bywords that they use: motion smoothing, pixel shift, and they all have different terminology from brand to brand to brand. They do that, and a lot of Chinese brands will do this to put stickers on boxes to make you think you're getting more, when half the time you don't even use the crap to begin with. And that's the thing. And that's just Chinese manufacturing. There's nothing wrong with Chinese manufacturing. It's just the way they market things. Like if you go look at certain brands,
It's a mentality thing.
well, right. If you go look at AWOL, AWOL is Chinese. There's no surprise there. I mean, it's called AWOL, so it's just, and what I like about it is their big TV micro LED panel. It's called a wall instead of the O, it's the A. So it's a wall instead of AWOL. But AWOL is the same thing. Just featured to heck, everything you can imagine thrown at the screen. Half the stuff you're going to end up turning off anyway because it makes it look like a muddy, soupy mess, and that's how you kind of get around it. But yeah, no, my thought process is still stands. It's if you're going to buy a large TV in that category, I would still stick with a full array or mini LED. You have a direct array, you have edge lit plus direct array, which still isn't full array. And then the next one you could have gone up to would have been the mini LED, which would have been probably really good, because that was the one struggle I would see with it, is as you start dimming, you didn't have individual control of the grid, so to speak, on the screen to adapt it.
So, with that said, I told Justin this morning when I was in church, we pulled out the two long throw projectors for 115-inch TVs. So one of the TVs had this vertical rectangular green spot on the TV, and it's about 2 years old. And he was like, "That's why I should have stayed projectors." He liked projectors.
Well, so for churches, so the reason why I use projectors in churches is because of what it looks like when it's turned off. And a lot of churches on the conservative side of things they don't want it to be a distraction. They don't want to get that sports bar looking effect where it just looks like there's two giant TVs on the wall. And so a lot of churches like that. But I will say this, a TV will kill a projector every time. If you're trying to get the brightest screen, the biggest screen you can get, now that they're getting cheaper, you can, it's people are moving into that territory. It's really the wild, wild west, though. When you start dealing with certain brands that are Chinese manufactured, you don't know if they're going to go out of business tomorrow. And so if they break, you may not be able to get parts for it.
And also the special versions they make for the big box stores like Costco and Sam's, that they make certain versions only to sell in their stores, who's lacking on all the features too.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, but yeah, no, and I would say that, and Ian and I have been, I know you're on the fence, whether you're looking at projectors or TVs or whatnot. And, you use a 106-inch screen. So to me, a 106-inch screen is, again, that's right around TV territory right now. So unless you're going to go to a 120, which you could go to 135 if you wanted to, honestly. I mean, you have a big room and a big wall, so you can really do whatever size you want to do.
That screen, I think, is a good, adequate size. I mean, I did make that comment about the picture you sent us yesterday about the room that you'd completed, and I said I'd have put a bigger screen in, but I don't think a bigger screen would work in my room. It's nowhere near as big as that room that you showed us.
No, your room's bigger, believe it or not. Yeah, no, your room's bigger for sure, because that room, the lens of the projector is barely 14 feet 3 away. And I know that because we were trying to get a certain screen size in there, and then because of the millwork and the carpentry, and he wanted the projector in a box, which pushes it forward, all those little inches started adding up, and it started pushing the nose of that thing.
That's what she's...
Yes.
Anyway, so 106-inch screen has been adequate in there, and it's got those fancy velvet curtains hanging around it that they put in for the model home, but It looks nice. So a 98-inch going down isn't going to be that much smaller.
That's what she said.
Oh, okay. Sub 100.
Yeah, no, so your room is much deeper. It's wider, and the thing that only hurt the thing that well, is your ceiling coffered, or do you have is it that curtain thing?
It's got well, I don't know what you
the
mean.
slant.
It's just
Yeah,
a
it's got the
slant all the way
Okay,
around.
so anytime you have a slant on your front wall, side walls, it's usually at 8 feet. It's
And
usually
that's-
at standard ceiling
and that's
height.
where the speakers are,
Right.
in that slanty bit.
Right. So you would have to, if you went bigger, you would have to put the top of the screen right where it starts to slant, is what you would do.
Yeah, and I've said I've got that fancy curtain thing hanging up there, which
Yeah.
no, I don't think I need it to go any bigger. I don't think it's that big a room to be putting that anything bigger in.
I mean, I have a 120 and a 12 by 12, but I'm also insane. So
Yeah.
What is the biggest? What is the biggest screen you can get?
is it big as you want it?
Yeah, how big do you want?
Yeah. No, I mean, you go listen to Mr. IMAX, who's being so quiet sitting over there in the corner.
Yes,
He's
he's almost invisible.
He is Ray the Forgotten. And Byron got so mad he threw his paper at Ray.
He didn't even respond.
Yeah, he didn't even swipe back. Damn. All right. No, I mean, you can get them stories tall. So, I mean, tougher. The biggest I've ever put in a home theater was a 175, and that's massive. But that was the Star Wars room. That was a Star Wars theater. It's about 36 deep by almost 29 wide.
That's huge.
Oh, it's a huge room. It's got several rows of seating in it. And it was all JBL synthesis in that room. And we did JVC projection. They do not have a Kaleidescape, which kind of breaks my heart right now. But because they're totally a Kaleidescape people. But yeah, no. So you're referring to the Sharp project. So that was one we just posted on Facebook this morning. I think is what we posted on the webpage. We just finished the build out on it. So that one has a 135 Seymour excellent screen. We love Seymour. They're phenomenal quality and price point's great, and their turnaround time's actually really good as well. And we're using all JBL synthesis there. So it's all synthesis. We're using REL 3D. So we have the 3 1510s in the front for left, center, right. And then they're doing simultaneous LFE and high pass. And then we have 2 SSW3s in the back. So it's actually good fun. But your room's bigger than theirs.
I can't remember. I think it's only about 20 by 15.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good size. Yours is a good size room. I mean it's a good size room for sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to go down that thing of like the stadium seating. I've just got couches round.
See, I love couches. To me, I don't like.
We got a
theater
nice big
chairs.
rug in the middle. Got one couch either side, and then reclining thing at the back.
Yep, that's what I like. So I am not a theater chair guy, even though we have a massive monster theater with theater chairs in it. But to me, I'm a sprawler. To me,
Well, you can use it for other things. We've had
yeah.
like little events in there, Christmas type.
Well, there's an
things
event there this morning. Yeah, there was. Yeah,
where you can have something on the TV or the screen, but you can actually be doing something
functional.
else.
Yeah, it's more of a media room than a cinema. Byron's is like
Because
that.
you're in a horseshoe shape, you're being more sociable.
Yeah. Now, to me, theater seating looks amazing in photographs. I mean, it looks absolutely awesome in photographs. It's just, I don't like to be contained.
Well, we know that. The wild spirit.
I don't like to be in a padded room. No, I should be in a padded room. No, I just don't like to be contained
And more Monster Mash, I see.
Yes, no, I love Monster. It's my nectar. It's what keeps me entertaining on a radio show when Byron's surfing on his phone.
He's not surfing, is he?
He is. He's just shaking his head, but it's okay because Lena and Ron are gonna feel sorry for him again. And you know what I'm gonna say? Yes, exactly. So, it's just I can't pick on Ray. There's nobody directly across from me. So now I gotta look at Ian right in front of me. But I'm angled toward Ray, and Byron's angled toward Ian, but there's no Ray. And, again, I'm just going to throw something at him because he's not there. So we don't know where he is. He just said he wasn't going to make it in today, gents, is what he said.
Valentine weekend, I guess.
Oh, that's right.
He might be on a wifey retreat.
Oh, he had to make it special for the missus.
Celery and cucumber.
Yeah, those were the days. All right, so celery and cucumber. Dear God. Okay, all right. And
Well, this show goes out to all you Valentines and Palantines and Galantines.
Yes, this
all
is
new words I learned this
Valentine's
week.
Day edition.
But Justin, did you know that
No.
February
I
13th
didn't.
is known
Not
as
even
National
close.
Side Piece Day?
February 13th is known as National
National what day?
Side Piece Day.
Oh,
So,
golly.
a side piece is for all these married people who have a girlfriend on the side.
Uh,
So they get their flowers on the 13th, and the wife get their flowers on the 14th. Just for the record.
That just sounds like too much work to me. All right, so
I thought you were talking about sidearms. I got confused.
yeah, no, that's also true. So, Byron's gonna activate Rel 3D, so he's doing all that stuff now.
And part 2 to that. Part 3.
You haven't paid for that part yet, so you can't complain about having to buy more things if you actually didn't buy the thing.
The concept is there.
So you've parted with some money and you haven't got anything for it.
No, that's not true.
I bought it in theory.
He bought it in his head, and I
bought-
just gave him the part, and he hasn't paid for it yet.
No, but that's part 2. We talking about part 3. The speakers, the Dolby Atmos port.
Oh, but you hadn't paid for those yet either.
Well, but I got those. We just need to pay for the labor and move them.
But you said you...
But no. You have to put speakers in the other holes too.
Right.
Yeah, so he's going to add 11 channels to his theater room. Four Atmos is what he's doing.
Is he going to notice?
Yeah. I mean, did you not notice when there's 4 channels above you?
Not particularly. I just know there was a lot of noise when you turned the volume up.
This is why we don't do the home theater series with Ian.
Well, high-tech redneck. I don't worry about
All right,
it.
what do you got on your paperwork over there, Byron? What are you looking at?
So I found a really cool article.
Congratulations.
I can read. You know that I can, right? that really
Mr. Wallace can read.
gives insight to the 2K versus 4K argument.
Okay, go for it. What you got?
And one of the things that we discussed was bit rates. But, they call it the bit rate battle. But when it comes to Kaleidescape, the 2K, 4K argument is on a whole different platform.
Okay.
Meaning that based on 6 feet away on an average TV size, like 65 inch or whatever, there's no difference between a 2K and a 4K.
So I would agree with that. So that is making a argument for the Strato M is what that's making an argument for. So a lot of people pooped on the Strato M. The Strato M is a 2K player, but it'll still do. He's like Byron. It's a 2K. He's a 2K player. No. So he's got. But it does have Dolby Vision processing, HDR10, HDR10 plus, and a whole 9 yards. Still doesn't everything. It's just compatible with 2K sources. Now, most people are like, well, what idiot would have a 2K source? I mean, Byron just.
Well, it's
Speaking of idiots, Byron just bought a 98-inch TV. Sorry, I couldn't.
but it's not a 2K source. What Kaleidescape does is they pump a 4K source to it and downscale it.
It
to 2K,
downscales it for 2K,
which actually changes.
which is
the
great
game.
for people with old projectors.
Right. When it changes the game, because it's still that 2K downgrade is still better than any streaming you're gonna get out there, whether they say it's 4K or not, and especially from the sound side of it, because
Yeah.
the sound comes very, very uncompressed.
Yes, no. So what he's saying is that there's at a certain size, there's not a whole lot of difference between 2K and 4K. What I would say changes when it comes to resolution, TV resolution, is the more pixels you have, the deeper the picture looks. So 4K, yes. 8K to me is a total farce. I've never liked the 8K stuff. I thought it was a marketing thing to sell more boxes. But there was also a screen size thing on that chart as well, right, Byron?
Yes. Yes, it was like
Yes,
big,
there was.
big.
Yeah, no. So 8K, you got to go really
Really
big
big.
and sit really close
That's
to
what she said.
Dear God. And we're back to that again. Why, hello there. Yeah. So, and moving on. Yeah. No. So Jesus. So AK again, I'm not a fan of AK. It's for the video game industry. Most people, including Sony, who created 8K, are no longer putting out research and development in that particular series. But here's the thing: most people don't have the opportunity nor have the room to put that big of a screen size to see the difference between the 8K versus the 4K. So before you poop on the product, try to take a look at what they're doing, because just because it says 4K doesn't mean it may not actually be 4K, which is a lot of what these streaming services are doing right now. I mean, I've seen YouTube TV in 4K. I've seen Hulu in 4K and Fubo in 4K, DirecTV stream on 4K, and it looks like hammered crap because it's all pixelated. So it's like, unless it's natively broadcasting in 4K, which now is a thing in most cases, you're not really gonna see the difference in that. Yeah, no. So that's a good article. What else was in there? You had some questions about color palettes and things,
like
correct?
What is it? The BT 2020 versus the HDR and all of those, because it's like that was all an eye opener. You know, they talk about those compared to the video formats like 4.4.4.4 up to 2160. You know, frames per second and all this. You know, all this technical gerbish.
Okay, so so getting into that. So BT 2020 is actually it defines the color range that a video can contain. So BT 2020 is a standard color gamut and how many colors are actually possible to support 4K and 8K resolution. Anything above that, you're talking about bit depth. So you can go with a 10-bit depth or a 12-bit video, and that's what you see most of your UHD Blu-rays or Kaleidescape when it says UHD. That's what you're at. That's what's in that color palette. So the standard color range would be a REC 709. That's a smaller color space. The DCI P3 would be a medium, and then the BT 2020 is where you saw the huge gamut jump when you start getting into that consumer 4K contrast range. And then on top of that, if you're still awake, wait, there's more. You have HDR10, you have HDR. Well, let's start with HDR first, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and then Dolby Vision, and then HLG, which is mostly used for broadcast TV. So to kind of go into some of the HDR and what it all means. So HDR is basically, it stands for high dynamic range. So what that's doing is it's brighter highlights, deeper blacks, wider color gamut, even more so than the BT 2020, and more detail both in dark and bright areas at the same time. So projectors actually struggle with this quite a bit, because if you kind of covering the projector, and I think we touched on this 2 shows ago possibly, but the hardest thing for a projector to do is to broadcast black and create what most people call black level or contrast. Most people call it black level or deep black, which Byron actually learned something fun when we were doing his Hisense TV and the black level stuff. But I'll get to that. But that was actually quite funny because they used the wrong terminology, and we'll get to that. Remind me to come back to that, Byron. So, all right. So HDR10 is the basic open standard for this. So, and then HDR10 Plus is adding dynamic metadata going scene by scene of your content. Okay, and then Dolby Vision is a different standard. It's using premium HDR10 with advanced tone mapping, meaning it's trying to adjust the contrast brightness on the fly based on the source. So not source, sorry, based on your display in real time. So meaning if it detects that your display is limited in certain capacities, then it will somewhat scale back some of those color gamuts to try to make sure that that picture looks crystal clear for you. You do have to pay Dolby a bunch of money to be able to do all that fun stuff. But what I thought was interesting was that in the Hisense world, in Byron's TV world, it was basically it was the exact opposite, wasn't it? You know, when you and I were messing with it, they had what was actually called deep black or black level adjustment, and it was awful. You know, when it was funny because when you cranked that sucker up,
It works in reverse.
That exactly. That thing was like more faded than a 20-year-old Polaroid picture. I mean, it was awful. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This is supposed to be deep black, and this is supposed to increase. So if you have a TV out there and you've cranked deep black up, you need to turn it off because it probably looks pretty darn awful. Just like Byron and I kind of stumbled on it because again, all of these people are using different terminology to as market words, but until you actually understand what it does, and there's a really fun way, we may end up shooting a YouTube video of this because there's actually a really fun way to do this where it'll keep you awake, because once somebody starts talking about color calibration and calibrating the TV, everybody goes to sleep. You know, it would be like you trying to talk to me about shades or fine china or lighting or what. This is such and such Kelvin. Who gives a crap? You know, it's like, I don't care. But the thing about the TV thing is if you're one of those tinkers, which I don't know anybody like that, but if you're one of those tinkers that does this sort of thing, I want Batman to look like he pulled his costume out of the damn closet the first time, instead of it looking like it was washed 15 times, like my hoodie, and it's more of a ghostly gray color instead of a rich black color. So, and that's the thing. So the reason, and I'll put it this way, projectors have gotten better at this because, again, let's go back to that projector analogy. The hardest thing for a projector to do, even a laser projector, is create that deep, rich, punchy black color. And because in the projector world, black isn't actually a color, it's absence of light. So it's basically your screen is what negotiates what the rest of that equation becomes, because your brain actually is doing the rest. But in the television world, that's way different.
Right. And also the Strato M changes the game a little bit. So it says, normal 4K streams do 8 or 10-bit color depth. But high-end systems like Kaleidescape can handle 12-bit Dolby Vision and present them as 13-bit dynamic interpolation.
Yep. No, so that would be Dolby Vision plus the HDR10.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, back to our previous statement that the Strato M, even though technically speaking it says 2K, it's not a true 2K. It changes the game to a whole different level. So it's worth, the question goes back to, is it worth that $1,000 that you want, the difference in price versus 2K versus 4K when it comes to Kaleidescape world?
I mean, here's the thing. If I had an older projector, I would 100% do the 2K version. Like, without a doubt, there would be no point. Because the reason why is because if I do the Strato M or Strato V on a 2K projector, I can only download the HD movies. Mm-hmm. So what this thing does is it actually allows you to download the 4K movies, and it's doing the work for you. Because in the older Kaleidescape world, in the older system world, I'm going to tell a story myself. I know, shocker. So, one of the previous houses we lived in had a home theater, and it had an older Sony projector. And it was a fantastic projector. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very similar to Ian's projector that he has now. and just different brand. But Ian's rocking his Technology Rocks cup as he winks. I should have had a video of that. That would have been amazing. The
Cup of tea, Gov.
yeah, cup of tea, Gov. What about me, Gov? Yeah, no. So the Lena yelled at me for saying Amazon instead of Amazon. Sir, that was for you, Lena.
Well, what about Oregon? We say Oregon, but the correct pronunciation is Oregon.
Oregon.
The state?
Oh,
What about but at Colorado? Colorado is actually pronounced Colorado, not Colorado.
it's Colorado.
No, it's not. It's Colorado. Say that in front of G and watch what happens. No, so going back to it, if I had an older theater room, so the thing is, I brought my Strato S home. I had a ton of movies on it. I was like, hey, let's have a movie weekend. Hooked it up. Only half my movies were there. And that's because it will only show the movies that your projector will interpret. However, if you get the new Strato M, it'll show you all your movies because it's doing it before it even gets to the projector. So to me, that's cool. I like that. The other thing is if you did that as a start, then people are going to say, well, that's stupid. What if you do that as a starter system? Why would you do it as a starter set? Well, I'll tell you why. Because once you upgrade and get the new player, as Byron always does, you could take that and use it as a player downstairs, as a secondary area that you probably, in your living room, you're probably not going to care about all that other stuff. So,
Well, and that was my goal. My goal was
to buy a Sonos soundbar and surround speakers and blame it on Justin.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But I was going to buy the 3K version, 3K, the 3K price one, and upgrade to the 4K one, and then put the 3K one downstairs. But now I'm kind of freaking revisiting that because I can probably get two of the 2K and put one downstairs and put one in the bedroom and still be fine.
It's true. He can use 2K in the bedroom.
No, 0K in that case.
Oh man, so a buddy of mine called me the other day and he goes, hey man, I need some more storage. And I said, you need more storage? And he was like, yeah man, I need more storage. And he said, so I asked him, I was like, well what storage do you have? He's like, man, I'm running out of movie space. I said, you're running out of movie space? And he's like, yeah. I was like, how many movies do you have? And he said, go ahead, you're muted. You can open it now. He said, man, I got like 2,500 movies. I said, bro, you need a meeting. That's a lot of movies. And I think Ian and I, was it you and I that were calculating that?
Yeah, it was me and you.
Yeah, it was me. It's like 50 grand worth of movies, man, when you calculate it all out. And then if you bought them at $5 a piece, I think it was like 13,500 or something. But that's you need a meeting for that.
What that said is, so if he didn't have the Terra server and he had that many movies stored in the cloud, would Kaleidescape charge him extra?
I don't know. No, not at all. No, because they're not. All you're doing is downloading it from their database. No, they wouldn't charge him anything. Because you could buy as many movies as you want. You could just only have 5 on the screen at a time.
Right.
Yeah, no. So that's only for people that want to see you want to see your movies spread open in their golden glory all at the same time.
That's what Ian would need.
Yeah.
Ian would need
Ian's up to
Terra server.
you're up to what, 2,200 movies now?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
So he would need a couple of Terra servers.
Yeah. So you discovered something interesting today.
I did. I don't remember what it was.
God, this is going to be a long
Well,
show.
you have to prompt me because I think of things randomly.
This is going to be a long show. You saw something interesting today about movie conversion. Yes, I did. It was. I liked it. And
No,
then
that's
silence.
Ray. You're talking Ray talk.
That was true.
Meet my little friend.
I miss Ray. Where the hell is he?
I did learn something new. It's because a friend of mine who is also a movie buff and likes collecting movies, wanted to know if I knew a way to convert an old VHS or DVD type movie to 4K. And I said, I don't know of any software that does that, because I haven't really looked into it, but I didn't know of anything. And he said, well, I found some videos on YouTube that have been upscaled to 4K, and they're really, really good. And I've got the original VHS, and it was so bad, I don't know how they did it. So I said, well, send me a link. So he sent me a link. I looked up who did the thing, and it was a online creator company. Actually, the guy sounded British when I played the introduction video, but I'm trying to remember the name of it now.
It makes it official when you sound British.
Something like Bazooka Bunny or something.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
But anyway, so looking into
Be
it,
very
it's like,
careful if you type that in, by the way.
we use AI to upscale to 4K. So started looking a bit further, and this same person that had asked me about it said, well, have you heard of Unifab? And I said, no, I haven't heard of Unifab. So I looked that up, and it is not an online. It is a AI-driven upscaling product that you can purchase and run on your own computer. You need some hefty graphics card apparently, but other than that, it should run on Mac or Windows.
And it's converting to 4K.
And it said it could convert up to 16K. I mean, who the hell needs 16K? You can't even.
How you going to display it?
Yeah, you can't even get an 8K TV now. But anyway, so.
Well, you can get 8K in the model number if you buy a Hisense.
But the interesting thing was this Unifab product has several modules, and you could buy the whole lot with a lifetime license for $300, and you could then convert everything you've got to 4K. If the one that he sent me the link to is anything to go by, it's actually.
So is it
good.
actually creating? Is it going to take more file storage to do
Of course
that?
it is. Yeah, of course it is. A 4K picture, a single frame at 30 or 60
All right.
frames is going to take up 4 times as much as a 1080p.
I'm going to have to see this in action, because I'm a firm believer that you can't make lemonade out of pond water, and when you do, it's going to be lemon flavored pond water. And if you have a 480p file, how in the heck is it remastering to 4 times the resolution as 1080p, which is, I don't know, man. It's wild.
It's AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes. Okay, I'm just looking. 2,132. That's the number of movies on my library.
2,132 digital downloads.
And still ripping.
And still ripping. He's having a ripping good time. Yes, but now he has to build his. You have to rebuild your ripping machine now, right?
Yeah, and probably increase the disk space if I'm going to upscale it to 4K.
Did your camera DVR crash too?
Did my camera?
Because weren't you using your computer as your camera?
No, I've got a separate one that does that. That's still working fine.
Of course he does.
Touch wood.
Ian is touching wood in the studio. All right, so you got any other fun facts on your paperwork over there?
Yeah, they recommend a couple of movies that's supposed to be really awesome on the Kaleidescape, especially on the 2K version, like we had talked about, like Dune and
Doom.
Dune.
Oh, Dune.
and Interstellar.
Interstellar is probably a really good one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that one.
Mad Max, Fury Road.
Ferry Road.
Fury Road.
Yes, it's where they run over all the little tribbles and things in the desert.
And La La Land.
He got that one right.
And Back to Black.
Back to Black looked actually interesting. That was the Amy Winehouse story, as Ian said a little bit earlier. But, yeah, no, I I think the 2K player makes sense. I think people crap on people are going to throw rocks at Kaleidescape because it's Kaleidescape. There's nothing that poor little company can do that's going to have people say, "Oh, this is brilliant." You know, they're always going to gripe about it because it's not free, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, no, if you want to keep building your Plex servers and doing all this and putting yourself to sleep at night and saying it's better than Kaleidescape, then you can do that. And again, the Plex server checks the just good enough boxes for a lot of folks. I mean, Ian loves the heck out of his Plex server, and it's a hobby of his, so it's kind of what he does.
And I'm just checking something on my iPad now, and I can pull up any movie.
Right. Yeah, no, I like Plex servers. I had one.
So is it safe to say that he would never owns a Kaleidescape?
No, I don't think Ian has too many darn movies to go into a Kaleidescape. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't own one like that.
No, I wouldn't at all.
Peer pressure.
It's way too expensive. I'm not.
It is expensive.
I'm not loaded like you guys. So
Correction. The BS meter just pegged.
Justin, pick your feet up because it's getting thick.
I know. It's getting thick. You better get those boots he was trying to sell.
Ian,
yes, sir.
if we load it, how do I own a half of a Kaleidescape?
Well, that's why I asked you earlier. I said if you own it, how can
Well,
you
if
own
you would,
half
I
of
can
it?
tell you. Would you like an honest answer? If you'd quit buying Sonos sound bars and surround
Sony
sound
TVs and
If I quit hanging around Justin, I'm going to claim him on my taxes as a dependent because he's killing me.
oh god, he's going to be wanting to be paid to be on the podcast.
I
man.
know, right? Well, the thing is first of all, I told you not to buy a 98-inch TV. I told you if you were heckman on putting surround sound in your bedroom, then that's the best way to do it, and
But how
helped you
not-
find it
How
cheaper.
you not buy a 98-inch TV that costs $999?
I can think of
lots of other things with $999.
I can think
But the
of
backstory-
98 different reasons of why I wouldn't do it.
The backstory was my current TV that I had, which was 82, couldn't do HDR.
That was the Samsung.
Right. It couldn't do HDR. So when I seen the Hisense for what and all of the things that it can do for the price, I was like, ooh, that's a good swap. But if my 82-inch that I got rid of could have did HDR and all this other stuff, I would have never got a new TV.
So let's do this. We'll play a game. I like to do this at least once a year. I call it the crystal ball. Like I did this prediction on season 1. I'll have to go find it on season 1. Because I made a lot of predictions last year, and about I would say 98% of those predictions came true. With some of that, one of them was bulb projectors were going to die. Everybody thought it was nuts. Everybody said no, that's never going to happen. And then within about 7 to 8 months later, bulb projectors came out. Or bulb projectors. There's a big announcement that they shut down the bulb factory in China, and then they shut it down in Japan, and now they're cracking down on it here in the United States. That's why you can't buy an incandescent bulb anymore. You can, they're just harder to find, and when you do, they're expensive. So a couple different projections that I have, no pun intended, is English only, thank you, would be about, I get this question a lot, so I'll just kind of formulate it here. Is the projector dead? Are we moving into a world where the projector is dead? My answer is still no. I don't think the projector is dead. Again, that's easy for me to say because I love projection. I've always loved projection. I've always thought going the biggest I could, dollar per square inch wise, was freaking awesome just because it creates that larger than life feel. But with these new buildable micro LED TVs that are coming out where you're assembling them in the house and things like that. Now, do I think large TV categories like Byron and Ian is looking at going to go away? Yes, I think it will. I think it's going to go away sooner than later. I think you'll see them in the Walmart, Target category, maybe Costco category, but I don't think you're going to see the higher end versions of those come out anytime soon. Just because people have gravitated toward that particular medium. Now, if you're a reference connoisseur snob like me, then yes, I'm going to poop on it because I don't believe in I don't like that particular technology to a degree. I didn't say they were all bad. I'm just not a fan of it. I'm also not a fan of lifting them. But my opinion on that, it was, so there was and the reason why I'm standing here on that, on my, the whole crystal ball thing, prediction thing, is I remember a time when Screen Innovations, and Ian remembers this story because I think he was even there. Where they made a hard surface projection screen. So it was hard surface. It was literally like knocking. It was literally like knocking on the wall, hard surface, and they thought it was the bee's knees. They lasted forever. Clean the thing with soap and water. You're good to go. Doesn't scratch. Doesn't do this. Doesn't do that. Now, why am I talking about projection screens? Well, I'll get to that. So the problem is as those things became bigger, like 115, 120, 130 category, you couldn't get them in the house. You couldn't get them up the stairs. You couldn't get them in the room. You couldn't get them in the doorways. There was a lot of form factors that happened. So I don't think that those types of televisions are going to go larger than 110 inches. Now, you have seen one that's already released a 115, but there's a catch to that. It's not a $1,700, $1,800, $2,100, 115 inch. What they're not telling you is that you're going to pay $800 in shipping. They're not, and your installer cannot deliver it. It has to be white glove delivered. What they're also not telling you is on top of that shipping, they're going to charge another $700 for somebody to carry it upstairs, and which I would let them do it, but assuming they can get it upstairs. And that's the thing. If they can't get it upstairs, and guess what? You have an elephant that's going to sit in your dining room just like Byron had. So and that's the issue with it. So I don't think TVs are going to get natively larger in that fashion because they're dangerous, they're hard to ship, and they're hard to load into your home. So I don't see this plethora of 115, 120, 130. And I may be wrong. I may be dead wrong on that prediction.
Well, every technology is going to plateau somewhere because of whatever reason. If you just keep trying to push the envelope, then it's going to get more and more expensive, and you'll get to a price point where people won't go beyond. So, the 100, 110 inch might be that. But the same thing happened with, I guess, I don't know if you predicted it, but 8K didn't eventually.
I did. That was another prediction that I had, but I cheated on that one. But yeah, no, I cheated on that one. I actually had a COVID
most
conversation.
people probably can't even resolve a 4K TV at a suitable.
Most
viewing
people aren't even utilizing their 4K TV because half the crap they watch is broadcast.
Right.
It's broadcast in 2K. To Byron's point, it's broadcast in 2K and 8K.
But if I walk up to my screen if I turn my projector on, which is only 1080p, I can walk up to the screen and I can see the individual.
Well, right. That's because it's 1080p and it's a basic projector.
So that's how I know it's in focus. But as soon as I go back 2-3 feet, it's like it's a picture.
And that's exactly what Byron was saying. Yeah, that's exactly what he was saying.
So 8K, it's like and it takes. If it takes 4 times as much disk space or streaming bandwidth to send than 1080p, then it's actually going to take another 4 times to do 8K.
So here's the fun thing about what you just said, and I love this. I love that you just said it because it proves my point. Just blows it out of the water. So the Epson makes what they call a E-Shift project. You remember the E-Shift days when JVC had E-Shift, 4K E-Shift. So it was 1080p. Okay, so E-Shift technology it's basically 1080p where they're doubling up on the pixels to create 4K. Right. Is what they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. They look good. There's a lot, and that's how they were doing it back in the day before people wrote Sony checks to get 4K. And Epson's still doing it. They're still not native 4K projectors. If you want to blow holes at me, call and yell at me, all this stuff, I'm sorry, Your Epson is not a native 4K projector. It's not. They may say 4K and it may say it'll process UHD, but it's not a native 4K chip. It's not. But that's okay. It still looks phenomenal and there's nothing wrong with that. But it just, but what Epson had to do is they had to do the handshake, which Byron was talking about with the Strato M, to give you the warm and fuzzy feeling when you hit the info button and it says 4K. So, all right. So once we get that off the plate. So the second thing is if you go buy an LS9000, which is about a $3,600, $3,700 projector, that pixel thing that you were just talking about, you can see that on the basic Epson projector. It looks like a checkerboard. You can't unsee it if you're sitting at a certain distance, even though it's quote unquote 4K. So the JVC has the same thing. If you go get a JVC NZ3, now the NZ3 is way better than the original NZ3, the basic, but the original NZ3, same thing. If you were sitting up close, it looks like a checkerboard. You can literally see individual dots and pixels, which is what 4K was supposed to get rid of. I mean, that's what it was done, is because you're doubling the pixels and you're not supposed to be able to see what I call the grid is what you're actually seeing. And then 8K was the doubling of 4K, which makes that even better, allegedly. Now, there's not a native, and I'm going to go on record to say this, unless Ray, again, this would be something Ray could tell us on the commercial side of things. But there's not that I know of, there's not a native 8K projector. Now, hold your arrows for a minute. I didn't say there weren't projectors that upconvert to 8K. What I'm saying is there's not an 8K resolution, native 8K resolution projector like there are 8K televisions. 8K televisions 100% exist. Samsung makes them, Sony makes them. I'm sure Samsung makes them, Hassan makes them, TCL.
TCL are going to make Sony ones.
Well, TCL, yeah, no, TCL. Well, Sony jumped out of the 8K territory, and they're the one that created it. The whole reason to have an 8K television was for a video game. Was for PlayStation and Xbox. That's it.
Yeah, it was like I was saying, every technology is going to plateau. History repeats itself.
Right.
And then at some point in the future, it will come back again, like vinyl.
Do you really think that's going to happen with disc, with Blu-ray?
Well, I don't know, because I don't think they're actually making the raw Blu-ray discs anymore.
Right. Well, no. So vinyl is stupid to me, but I love it. It's a stupid hobby. I hate that I had a buddy that got me into that hobby, but it was really the thrill of the hunt. It was trying to find a piece of music that you love. And
yeah, nobody buys music on any kind of physical medium anymore, apart from you and me.
Well,
wait, you woke up Byron. Hang on.
A disclaimer. I asked my wife. She has a 2020 Yukon, and
You asked her,
and I have a 2020 GMC Sierra. So
she wanted a vinyl player in the Sierra.
right?
In 21.
Or an 8-track.
They changed the front end on the Yukon to match the front end on the Sierra, which is more updated. So I asked the question. I said, do you want to get a new Yukon? No, because they don't come with CD players.
Right.
I say, well, who listens to CD players? She say, I do. And she produced this case that sits on the back seat with 100 plus CDs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's ludicrous.
Even I'll agree with that one.
Well, I agree with it too, because it saved me thousands, but the justification of it, I just didn't, to me, that wasn't a reason, but hey, if that's what you into, that's what you into.
So I had a Cobra, 2003 Cobra that had a CD player in it, because it didn't have, this is before Bluetooth and line input and all that stuff, and I actually went and bought CDs for it, because that's the only way I could listen to music. That was it. Was I actually had CDs and all that stuff, but no, it just, to me, I don't see Blu-ray coming back. And again, I may be wrong.
But just looking today, we were talking about movies today, earlier on today, when we were discussing the Oscar nominees, and I was like looking up some of the movies because I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you can buy fairly recent movies. They're still coming out on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K Ultra HD disc. So it's not like they've stopped doing it now. It's like there's a lot out there still. But if they've stopped making the blanks, how long before, or stop producing the raw DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it is, how long before we're not ever able to buy a physical copy of something?
Well, I think as much as they push this carbon-free footprint type scenario, that's the direction we're gonna go.
Well, I know that the Disney plant was in Australia, and that one was shut down about 2 years. No, it was season one.
Oh, it was Disney that closed down the Blu-ray stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Sony bought the rights to be able to produce the Disney movies on Blu-ray. And I don't know if they're still doing that or not. I know the last official disc that Disney released was actually the Indiana Jones movie. It was the latest Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which actually wasn't a bad movie. But yeah, no, that was the last one that they did, and they shut their plant out. But it had more to do with the EPA and the pollution that it created. And then vinyl plants are also very pollutant because it's all plastic. I mean, it's literally, they put on a lot of fumes. I know there was a huge vinyl plant in California, and I think they burned down in California, but then there's some kind of, there's another one in China, shocker. And then I know Japan has one. There's a couple other places that have these large vinyl plants as this resurgence starts. So I'll give you this. Vinyl's a vibe. To me, it's a vibe. It's fun. It's a novelty. But there's nothing sexy about a Blu-ray. You know, I mean, there's nothing sexy about going, I mean, just like there's nothing sexy about a CD. You know, it's like putting a CD in, okay, you get to pick your song, da 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 da. You know, when you drop the needle on a record, there's something sexy about that. It's just, you know, it's an organic feeling where you hear the imperfections, you hear the snap, crackle, pop bowl of Rice Krispies, which is why I don't know why people enjoy it, but it's something that forces a disconnection. There's nothing special about pushing a button on your phone to play a song other than, hey, that's cool, I can push a button. Now you don't even have to push a button. You can say, hey, so-and-so, play this song, you know, and that, but I don't see that same vibe on a Blu-ray. And I don't, but I'll tell you what I do miss about Blu-ray on Kaleidescape, and this is something against Kaleidescape a little bit, is I'm a total tech nerd, okay? I love, and I haven't done this in a long time, but I loved doing it, and I enjoyed it when I did it. I loved listening to the director commentary while watching certain movies. And I know it's the stupidest thing you've ever heard of.
No, it's not, because the one reason I watch football by myself is because I like to listen to the announcers and they, analogies of the play by play. Anybody, my son will tell you, when my dad's watching football, you better not be talking unless it's a commercial.
Right.
So I understand it.
Well, and so I'm actually looking at the Kaleidescape app right now. I'm looking at an audio track, or I'm trying to see if, and I don't think they have director commentary in the audio tracks on Kaleidescape movies. And I watched Terminator 2 in its entirety. Terminator 2 is one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought, and it was just mind-boggling the first time I ever saw it on Blu-ray, because it was just the clearest thing I'd ever seen. It was absolutely awesome. And I watched it again, and I turned on I hit the wrong button on my remote and turned on the director commentary. And it was so fun. I learned so much about the filmography of that movie and how James Cameron, who's a freaking wizard, by the way, he tricked people into thinking that, oh, he did all this CGI technology and this is state of the art and all this other things. And no, he didn't do any of that crap. He used twins. You know, Linda Hamilton has a twin sister, and the lady that played the Pipsqueaks, the kid, I forgot his name. His mom has a twin sister, and the cop in the hallway has a twin brother. And that's what's so funny about it is he tricked all of these people into thinking that he was doing all of this extra stuff, and he wasn't. He was using twins the whole time. And that was what was so cool. But I would have never known that had I watched the director commentary, because that's not common knowledge.
So let me ask this question. We're talking about Blu-ray resurfacing. Well, let's look at the launch.
Okay.
When DVDs launch versus when Blu-ray launch, which one you think was the bigger launch?
DVD, without a doubt.
So
DVD. Well, but the reason why is because the Blu-ray was controversial. I mean, you had HD DVD and Blu-ray, so you had a battle. So no, I would say without a doubt DVD, because to me it was just as organic as tape and CD.
So therefore, DVD sold more than Blu-rays.
Well, man, that would be really fun to look up. If one of you wants to look that up,
You know,
that would be interesting.
You know, when you used to buy a Blu-ray disc for like, say, $25, you got the standard one and you got the Blu-ray one in the same box.
So here's the interesting thing about that, and this is an amazing point, because you're welcome. So let's go back to cassette and CD for a minute. CD was magical in comparison to a cassette. Cassette were messy, they stretched, you couldn't find the right song half the time unless you had a fancy tape deck that allowed that when you hit the rewind button, it would stop on the song and then stop on the song. Those were fewer and far between, especially in cars. So CD was just so flippin' cool. You could find the song, you could repeat the song if you wanted to, you could random the song, so it was like listening a whole different album in different order, all kinds of fun things. Now, fast forward to VHS and DVD. VHS and DVD was the same thing. I don't have to rewind to my scene. I had my resume movie thing. If I turn my DVD player off and ejected the disc, I put the disc back in, the Blu-ray player, the DVD player saw, oh, you played this. It had RAM. It had cache memory that saw that you played that disc, and it asked you if you wanted to start it over or resume.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
And this is the whole analog versus digital. Like cassette and vinyl are analog, but when you get to CDs and DVDs and then Blu-rays and everything else, that's the influx. That's the digital stuff coming in, and that's the kind of difference between people like they create playlists on streaming services, and so even if a band brings out an album now, does anybody ever listen to it as an album like we used to? You put a record on, play one side, turn it over, play the other side, or play both sides of a cassette tape, and it was serial. Now it's digital. It's not serial listening. I mean, unless it's like people.
But music is not the same though, Ian. I mean, if a person put out an album back then when we was talking about, every song on the album was good.
I'm not sure what you're trying to edit.
That's your phone. You are editing something with your butt cheeks, good sir.
Hey, Sammy.
But
I can't stop. He's too tickled. He can't say.
But every song was not good on the album. But now these days that's what made streaming really take off, because I can buy one song instead of buying the whole album. Back in the day, we was forced to buy the whole album. We couldn't buy a song unless the single just went through the roof and then they made a single.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, you could buy a single tape, but only if it was popular.
We're going to go down in history as the show where Byron butt-dialed Siri.
Butt-dialed Siri and got tickled. Yes, he tickled Siri.
And she wants to edit it. She wanted to edit my butt.
Hey Siri. Uh-huh. Yeah, no.
She says, "What do you want to edit?"
I'll never forget that with what was his name? I think it was Mike Reinhardt who worked here, and he was like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey Siri," and she was like, "Yes, da 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 da," and he goes, "Hey Siri," and she goes, "Uh-huh," and I'm like, "What the what relationship do you have with Siri, good sir?"
Hey, when she did that, my wife was like, "That bitch."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What in the heck is you doing with that Siri? Yeah, no. So going back to it, no, that's a great question, and I'll tell you why I think DVD went faster than VHS, or not VHS, but Blu-ray. But in this will make sense in a second. So when DVD was released, you could still use your standard same television because it was still using RCA. Yeah, it was 480p, and it was still using RCA, like your VCR did. When your VCR used RCA. When Blu-ray came out, then Blu-ray started utilizing component video, and then HDMI. Actually, it was just HDMI. as DVD moved up a tick, it started progressing into S video and then component video, and then Blu-ray was strictly HDMI. But and there may have been a couple Blu-ray players with component video, because component video was 720p. Because then you had there's several different formations, but DVD was way easier to adopt because you didn't need a new TV. You didn't have to purchase another television. And I think the reason why it was such a mass market is because it was very similar to a CD launch. It was natively leaps and bounds better quality than a VHS. And then you had that comparison with the Blu-ray. And the problem with Blu-ray is that, okay, now I have to have a TV with an HDMI port, or at minimum component video, for it to work right. Now I have to go rebuy all my movies all over again. And then now, it just kind of creates this. But it was a night and day difference. It was a night and day difference to see a Blu-ray versus DVD. Very similar to DVD versus VHS. Now, the failure to launch for me was UHD Blu-ray, and I don't think that caught fire as fast as they thought it was going to, because UHD was such a sticky little wicket. The reason why is because they did not agree on what 4K was the dominant format, frames per second. They did not agree on, some of them were trying to use HDR in that spectrum, and some of them did not. So there was an argument between the players. I do know, so Samsung released the first 4K Ultra HD player. I do remember that. And even back then, you had to have a certain type of television to be able to watch the disc, because certain televisions weren't compatible with that version of 4K. So in my opinion, that one was more of a failure to launch because the tech wasn't baked yet before they started trying to release disc and bring disc out.
So, would you agree?
No.
At the time they threw the white one, at the time
Absolutely.
when they was offering Blu-ray, you buy a Blu-ray disc and you get a free digital version, is the time they was throwing the white flag in?
I think they were trying to generate interest, because think about it. Think about that. You just answered your own question, because when you have people activating codes of disc to digital, they can track that. They can say, okay, who's activating this digital format? Then that leaves a little check mark of, hey, okay, if I sell 1,000 copies, okay, and 100 of those copies get activated digitally, then that means 100 of those copies got activated digitally. So there's not a lot of interest there. Their interest is 10%, right? I mean, if I screw up on the math, just correct me. Ian, you're smarter than I am. So if I sell that same movie 2 years later and 200 of those get activated out of the 1,000, okay, well, we're getting a little bit more here. We're a little bit more interested in here. But if I sell that same 1,000 copies of movies and 800 of them are activated, okay, well, wait a minute. Now let's not twist this up for a minute. If 800 copies of that movie were activated digitally, then what stops me from not having to produce, distribute, package? Hopefully somebody in the store, hopefully the store venue buys the amount of copies I need to be purchased to put on a shelf. That's what happened. The more of those digital copies became relevant, and I remember this for a limited time, you could actually go buy it looked like the size of a gift card. You could buy a digital copy of a movie in the store to activate in Ultraviolet, because that was another demographic. I think Walmart did that, where they were just trying to experiment, just to say, okay, who's not buying the disc? Would somebody just buy the digital version? And it was an experiment that they had played with for a little while, because guess what? If somebody steals a card, they're not really losing anything like they would a disc. But yeah, I mean, they lose the copy of the movie, but then that copy can be tracked. That's the thing. When you have digital copies, you can track how many people are watching it. You can track where they're watching it, what the median they are watching it in, and the information is reporting back. They don't get that information on a disc. So my thought is as those digital things started becoming more relevant and people kept activating them more and more, like Ian was talking about something the other day called Movies Anywhere, as that thing starts taking a life of its own, then now the hard disk becomes irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it's better quality or not. It's more about, hey, I can sit on my hiney and
Donkey.
I can sit on my donkey, and see all of my movies in their golden glory in one spot, and that's what I want to see. And I think that's I think you just nailed right there the paradigm shift of why hard disk media isn't as relevant as it was back then.
But we've all had the wool. Well, not all of us, but pulling the wool over our eyes, or attempting to, because when you get to that point where you're purchasing digital, you're actually not buying a product. You're just buying a license.
You're 100% correct. And
we
you're not
have
even
this-
buying a license.
And we had this argument last
You're
year.
buying the right to use it.
You're buying the right to use it. You don't own anything.
But only while they have the right to supply it to you.
Right.
So you could pay, and this is what gets me, you pay as much for a digital license view.
Or more.
Like if you go to Amazon Prime Video. or
Amazon.
And it says on all sorts of things, rent or buy. Now, the word buy in my book means you give somebody money, they give you something in return. And if somewhere
Unless
down
you're
the line
Byron.
you didn't want that product anymore, you could sell it to somebody else. But you can't do that with something you buy from an online digital streaming store. It's not a product you get in your hand, which is why I still buy CDs and Blu-rays.
Well, even the medical doctors will do that. Think about it. You go to a telemed visit, you pay your same copay as you did if you're going into the office.
Yeah, I got one of those tomorrow.
You know what I'm saying? So my problem is I'm not against telemed, but how you gonna charge me the same copay when I'm in the office and you physically got to touch and examine me?
Because
where
it's all governed
when you're
by
looking
the
at
insurance, which is a rip-off.
right. Well, when you're looking on the computer screen, we're doing a Zoom say a Zoom session. You're not touching and examining me. You just going based on what I'm telling you and give me some generic type medicine and say, thank you, give me my copay. You know, that's the same scenario, you know. But one thing about Kaleidescape that I like that Justin told me way back in the game, when you buy a movie from Kaleidescape, you own the copyrights.
Yeah, you own the
You
it's
own
a
the movie.
contract between you and the movie.
You don't
or
own
the movie
copyright.
studio.
You own a copy of
You
it.
own a copy of it.
Wait, versus
resides-
streaming
where-
services
And where does that copy reside?
On your hard drive.
on your
Assuming-
local hard drive.
But assuming you have enough hard drive space to save and have
Doesn't matter. So, and that's
It
the
does. Just
No,
bear
not
with
really.
Me, bear with me.
okay.
So, which is the smallest Kaleidescape? You said holds about 5 movies.
Right.
So you've bought 100 movies. 5 of them are on your drive.
Yep.
The other 95 are where?
In the cloud.
On their servers.
And what happens if Kaleidescape has just gone down the toilet? Where have your other 95
Well,
movies?
Ian,
What happens if when your disc rot and the polymer runs out on your disc? What happens to your movie?
I won't be here to worry about it.
but Ian, but think about this. It's your, just like if you think about that, that's your scenario. Then it's up to you
That's
to
why
buy
you need
enough
storage.
storage space
Yeah.
to house how many movies you want to purchase.
No, and that's a good point
Yeah,
that
but
Ian
then
just
at the
brought
end-
up.
but at the
Yeah,
end
no,
of the
that's a
day,
good
you're
point.
then spending more on just going out and buying the Blu-rays.
It's true, if you can find the Blu-rays, but maybe not. Because my prediction, going back to the crystal ball, is that Blu-rays are going to be about $35 to $37 a piece in the next 2 years.
But let's play devil advocates here. You go buy the Blu-rays, and God forbid something happens, and all your Blu-rays burn up. You out of all the money you spend
Or
on
you
your
go through a
Blu-rays.
divorce.
You out of all the money you spend on the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
But if you buy a Kaleidescape and the amount of storage, and if your Terra server fails,
argument.
your Terra server fails,
You
you,
have to buy a
replace
new
it.
one.
You
Yeah,
replace
buy
it.
a new one.
You don't have to rebuy the movies because they all downloaded back to your local storage.
Actually, fun fact: you have a strike 1, 2,
So-
and 3 rule on your Kaleidescape system. So if it detects one hard disk skip, it makes a note in a notation in that.
He's talking about risk analysis, and I want to say that I think it's less likely that my DVD Blu-ray collection is going to burn up than his Kaleidescape disc drive is going to crash.
But that doesn't matter.
And that's based on
but-
recent experience of disc drive crashes.
But you haven't even. But here's the thing. Okay, first of all, Kaleidescape uses red ray. Red ray drives or red drives are made to run 24/7, 7 days a week. They're built like tanks, which is why when you were looking at a drive, I said do a purple or a red. Don't
Yeah,
just get a
purple is
standard drive.
So the one I
Red
want
is-
to you have is a purple. It came out my NVR
yeah.
because I went solid state.
Red are generally storage, purple are surveillance,
Right.
CCTV type systems, and blue is your desktop stuff.
Yeah, the desktop. So here's what I would say: you have a strike 1, 2, and 3 rule, and this is great. I love this topic. You have a strike 1, 2, and 3 rule with Kaleidescape. Strike 1 is you have it makes a mental check if your disk drive skips on a Kaleidescape. So strike 2 is if it does it again within the next 2-3 weeks, month, whatever. It already has that first annotation, and it says, oh, it sends a flag to them and your integrator that says, hey, Mr. Wallace's Kaleidescape is malfunctioning. And it's so
What you say?
yeah, so I need that on a button. God, I need that on a button. So anyway, no, what it says is it sends a note to the integrator.
Check
that-
engine light.
Yeah, exactly. Check engine light. But on strike 2, they're already making a backup of your library on a different machine. It's about to be. So if it even gets to a strike 3, they ship you a machine with your hard drive.
Disaster recovery.
So that's a 5-year warranty that it does that. Now, after the 5-year warranty, you can extend the warranty and do all kinds of things after the warranty for not a whole lot of money, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to extend the warranty on that situation. But so
My crystal ball, 5 years' time, there won't be a Kaleidescape.
I think you're wrong. I think in 100. Okay, tell me why.
I'm not giving any reasons why. It's just a crystal ball.
I think it's the other way around. I think is that as we move forward, the technology advance, we're gonna be just like cash. After a while, money won't be paper money, won't be a thing of presence. It's gonna be all digital currency.
My crystal ball on that. So I completely 100% disagree with you. So we'll mark this one on a calendar. So my crystal ball is Kaleidescape is natively going to get cheaper. It's already has. It's already doing it. They've come out with 3 different product SKUs in the last year. They've come out with more products in the last year than they've come out in the last decade.
But they're going to suffer the same fate as everybody else that wants to put memory and hard disks into things. It's going to cost a lot more.
It's already has. It's already gone up.
Yeah,
It's going to go up, but I don't think they're going to go away. I just think they're going to go up. I think they're going to find a different
5 years. I'm not
mousetrap.
talking about 1 year.
No, here's what I think. Here's my crystal ball, and it might be Kaleidescape that does it. I don't know, but my crystal ball with that piggyback springboarding off of what you just said, and I've said this before, and it hasn't happened yet, but I can feel it. I can see it. I have a good read on the market because I'm involved in the market all the time with as far as electronics is concerned. In my opinion, somebody is going to make let's just say it's Apple and I don't know anything on this. Let's just say it's Apple, for instance. In my opinion, Apple is going to release some sort of box called an Apple Elite or something, and it's going to be the size, roundabout size of a Mac Mini, and it's going to be faster processing where it can play movies with less compression, and it'll be, even if they made it double the compression that they're squishing these movies down, it would still be better. It would still sound better, and people would pay for it. In my opinion, one of these media player companies is going to come out with a better version because the limitation of these companies is the processing power. Amazon has a damn USB stick, right? It's a stick. It's a Fire Stick, right? It's the size of a USB. And so it doesn't have a lot of processing in it. Roku's gotten a little bit bigger. Apple's gotten natively bigger with faster processing. In fact, they're using the same processing as your phone, your iPhone is using. And my thought process behind this is I think Byron hit the nail on the head a while back. You're welcome. That perhaps someone like Kaleidescape, and again, I don't know anything, is going to come out with a streaming box where it has enough memory, enough processing power, and enough cache, not in pocket cache, but cache memory to play a larger movie file, uncompressed, and still look about 70% of what a Kaleidescape can do. That's my prediction. I think somebody's going to do it. One, they're getting kicked in the knees too much about how bad streaming sucks. They're getting kicked in the knees about how bad streaming television sucks. Yes, it's watchable, but for people that have a 150-inch screen, a barcode projector, it's like, okay, yeah, I can watch it, but it's not.
It sucks.
It sucks. Yeah. So my prediction is they're going to have some sort of Apple TV Elite or Roku Elite or Kaleidescape Stream Box or something like that.
At the end of the day, Kaleidescape's never going to be mainstream thing, given the cost of it. It's never.
At some point, maybe, but no. As of right now, no.
I mean, going back all the way back, what was there before VHS and before VHS and Betamax? What was
reel to reel? Nothing. Radio, AM radio.
8mm, your own home movies or something. But
yeah.
You didn't. But
TV antennas, rabbit ears.
VHS came out.
Jackie Gleason.
I'm talking about the ability to watch things on demand. So VHS came out in about 1976.
Okay. You're talking about being able to record.
And at that time, it was like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, we can now get these tapes that we can record stuff on, and we can watch stuff, and we can go and rent movies on, and it's the future.
Right.
When did the future end for VHS? When DVD came out. When did DVD come out?
Kind of.
1996.
Kind of. But think about this for a minute. Devil's advocate here. Kind of.
I'm just.
You missed it. Whoa, wait.
No, you're not.
I am using. Yeah, I am listening, but I am
not. I'm
using
just
your
trying to
own
give you a-
logic.
No, you haven't listened to the whole argument yet. I'm just saying that you had the VHS era, which was 20 years from 76.
But
to
recording,
96.
but that's the thing. Put a pin in that. Recording didn't stop. VHS recording didn't stop when DVD came out because you couldn't record on a DVD machine, and the ones you could record on were
Okay,
so damn
we're
was no
talking
standard.
about.
So it didn't quite go
Right,
away.
but I was specifically talking about the ability to watch things on demand.
Right, which was VHS. Wait. When you say on demand, do you mean I'm going to record the crappy Super Bowl that everybody watched that you didn't get to? Or do you say, I want to watch Star Wars right now?
The movies.
Which one?
Talk
Okay,
about-
movies.
no,
Okay,
That's
no.
our general thing.
Okay,
here.
no,
Talk
so
about
I got
movies.
sidetracked because when you said
Yeah.
on demand, I thought something different.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
not
yeah,
not
yeah.
pay per view on demand. talk
Right.
shit, but
Okay.
it's like in general talking about an era. You got VHS and Betamax briefly, but then kind of you went to DVDs. And I mean, I knew somebody who started buying VHS tapes when they were the thing, and it's like he's got this great collection because he had all the James Bond films on VHS.
You don't have to raise your hand. You can talk.
No, I'm the one that got all these VHSs in a bin.
But then 20 years later,
You can put your hand down in embarrassment. It's fine.
20 years later was when DVDs were introduced. I think it was 96, around about November, first introduced.
Yep. Panasonic, first DVD player. Yeah.
Right. So then my friend who had all
Magnavox.
had all these James Bond movies on VHS, it's like, I can get them all on DVD now. So he starts buying them all on DVD. And this is the future. It's never going to be better. But how long before Blu-ray came out? Was it another
Well,
20 years?
so- No, well, Blu-ray
that's
was
what I'm
owned.
saying.
Blu-ray was owned by Sony. That's
Each
why.
era. Yeah, but each era is getting shorter. VHS to DVD, 20 years. DVD to Blu-ray, 5 to 10 years?
Somewhere in there, yeah. And then UHD was a failure to launch, in my opinion.
but
even though
then-
people disagree with
then
it.
how-
I just,
You know,
it
and then
was
streaming
horrible.
comes in the mix, and people don't buy Blu-rays
So-
and DVDs and players anymore.
And
They
that's
stream
the
everything.
prediction point
But-
right there.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. That whole thing gets smaller. That's where my 5 years comes from. Because Kaleidescape is the new thing.
But it's not the new thing.
Well,
They've been doing the movie store for 15 years.
but as a product that people like Byron and Ray talk about, Kaleidescape as a thing that you put in to have your movies on, and he's talking about it as a replacement for Blu-ray and DVD libraries, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Library replacement, VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to let's do it to Kaleidescape. But as you go, each era gets shorter, but each technology gets more expensive.
Yeah, no, and I think that's where the crystal ball thing that I just said makes more sense. It's like
So
somebody's going to make a
DVDs.
better player.
So my crystal ball is kind of like the same scenario.
Well, your crystal ball's tied to half a Kaleidescape.
So in 5 years' time, there will be a new technology.
Sure.
But
So Kaleidescape might still be a name in the market, in the mix, that does whatever it does that people want to watch by, if they keep up with whatever the technology
but
is.
the price is my crystal ball is based on price, and I give you a prime example.
Your TV.
No, so in the chemical business,
Wow.
Epoxy. Some companies try to strong arm other companies to keep the prices of epoxy up. So China say, screw that. We're gonna build our own plant and flood the market. So
As in, are you talking glue?
Well, glue and all of the chemicals that's used to
What?
I can't hear. All the things that's use epoxy, they use epoxy to like medical supplies and
Okay.
everything. But from a global standpoint. And so what China did is China flooded the market because they tried to strong arm on the price, and they built their own factory and they flooded the market. So that drove price down. So the byproduct is that, okay, but they selling a crappy epoxy, but here, buy ours at a higher price, we have better quality. But the manufacturers was like, I don't care about quality, long as my end product quality stays the same. So what I said it to say is to combat the chip manufacturers and the drive stuff, somebody's going to build a plant to make those chips and drives, which is cheaper, less quality, but you still get the end result. And so in turn, that's going to drive the price of the Kaleidescapes and all these other devices that the price is going up now, that's going to drop them back down.
Okay.
It's all gone quiet.
No, I just made a discovery on the mixer board.
That's why you couldn't hear us.
No, that's why I started laughing, because when I did this, Byron's headphones go dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So, and did your headphones just go dead?
What'd you say?
Yeah, so, all right. So 1, 3, and 4 are all mixed up because I was trying to turn my headphones down. So I turned number 1 down, and then Byron started, I can't hear anything. So yeah, no, it's just.
Well, I can't hear anything still.
You can't hear anything?
Oh yeah, I can hear it. There's a bit too much.
Okay, so you're
good.
right.
Hey,
But you was able to still hear me though, right?
Yeah, I could hear you. Well, no, and that's when I found mine, because sometimes I get ear fatigue.
so you
listening
don't
to
know
myself
which
talk.
microphone's plugged into which hole?
No, I do. Yeah, I know what holes I'm plugged into. Thank
What
you very
hole you
much.
plugged into?
Yeah,
My God.
said the bishop to the missus.
Hey, as Ray would say, I didn't know this was that kind of show.
Yeah, well, he's not here to say that. It's Ray the Forgotten.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's what he didn't say. Having a Valentine's weekend with his Valentine.
Hi, Ray.
We're gonna get a cardboard picture of Ray.
That's true.
Just standing right there, so when he's gone.
I think I half agree with you, but I don't think Kaleidescape's going anywhere. I think there's going to be
My other point. And
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to extrapolate the whole situation, but to me it looks like a very niche market for a very
What it is?
high-end
It's what I
customer.
call people that have swimming pools that don't. It's like if you do a drone footage of a neighborhood, it's probably 3 out of every 20 houses that has a swimming pool.
No, it's a lot more than that now.
Well, probably now, but just bear with that. But I would say the demographic is about the same for home theater. But I mean, yes, there are people that have awkward rooms with no windows called a home theater, but there's very few that are in the home cinema category.
Right.
That
Fully featured seating, lighting,
all that
projectors,
stuff. Yeah.
But Ian, if you look at it,
JBL
the average,
synthesis.
if you would poll 10 people,
Hey, that's a fighting word. You will stop.
if you would poll 10 people
REL.
and ask them if they had a home theater,
REL Speedwagon.
I believe 7 of them would not.
Sorry, I missed that.
I said if you would poll 10 people and ask them if they had a home theater in their home, 7 of them would say no.
So crystal ball status.
say more than that.
Ian thinks Kaleidescape's not going to be here in 5 years. So I disagree. I think there will be between that 5 years. I would say in the next year, because it's coming sooner than later. There will be a better box that will do better quality, and Kaleidescape's going to have to do something drastically different. When I say drastically different, I think Kaleidescape's going to have to find a median, very similar to what Byron had mentioned. Have we mentioned that on air? I don't think you've mentioned your theory on Kaleidescape on air, but we'll get to that. Hold on to that thought. They're going to have to re-grease the wheel at some point, and I think it's going to happen sooner or later, because if Apple TV got 50%, I mean 50, I would even say 30% better than what they are. Let's not even say 50. Let's go less. People would gravitate to it. Because it's cheaper. It's a price thing. Now, if I told you, Ian, you could get an Apple TV for $600 and your content will look 30% better and sound 30% better, would you buy it?
Better than what?
Better than current streaming. If I could tell you that you could get a median that looked 30% better than what you had, would you pay $400 more for it than it is now?
I don't know. Can't answer that question right now.
I don't know.
I don't spend that much money on anything anyway.
Okay, Byron, if I told you...
Oh, yeah, the guy that spends the money, ask him.
No, the answer is the majority of people would is what I'm saying and because the streaming world, which hasn't really it's evolved because when streaming first came out, it was MP3 territory. It all sounded like compressed crap. And then that went into 24 bit, and then it went to 44.1, and now it's going to 128.3, and then it's going above that. And now you have atmospheric music and uncompressed, and people are now paying monthly for crap that they weren't paying monthly for because it sounds better. That's my point. If there was something that was 30% better,
Yeah, you're going to want the better quality if you can, but I don't know that spending that much more money on it, speaking as a senior citizen.
but for people that spend $100,000 on their room,
Well, yeah.
or 50 grand on their room, or even 20 grand on their room, another 8,000 is not out of the ordinary if it's going to be not 30% better, not 50% better, but 100 times better. And that's what Kaleidescape is versus Apple TV. It's 100 times better. It's not even, and that's the differentiation. It's the same differentiation between VHS and Blu-ray. If you were to take a VHS copy of Star Wars and a Blu-ray copy of not Ultra HD, but Blu-ray copy of Star Wars, it's 100 times better easily. Anybody could see that. But then if you take the UHD versus Blu-ray, well, now we're talking about fractions because UHD to me didn't look like knee-jerk, oh gosh, I have to have this, better. But Kaleidescape in comparison to Blu-ray, it's only about 10%. It's not as drastic. So I have never disagreed that Blu-ray is the most affordable median to get the best out of your home cinema. It is. And Kaleidescape's not wavering from that opinion either. They're still, it's just a different model. It's a different bracket. It's for people. I mean, like me, for instance, I don't have any disc. I lost my disc during a divorce. I had about 1,200 movies, 1,300 movies, lost them all in a divorce, made a media server, and then found that I just, I didn't have the patience to try to find the best format or the best variation like you did to try to get rid of the ants and pixelation and different variable there. And so then I started buying movies on Apple TV. I was like, oh, look, I fell right into the trap. Oh, look, I can get this movie 4K. Oh, it says Atmos. Oh, it says this. And I was fine. I have 300 movies on Apple TV right now. I could give you my login on an Apple TV and you will see 300 movies. And there's nothing wrong with those movies. They're 100% watchable until I saw Kaleidescape. And that was when I was like, I never bought or rented or purchased an Apple TV movie again when I bought a Kaleidescape because it was that different. And I had a condition. I had a buying problem because I would come home, I was bored. Oh, look, this one's $5. Oh, I can get the whole bundle for $8. I'm going to buy a whole bundle. And guess what? I didn't have to worry about hard drive space. But when Hollywood decided they hated Kevin Spacey, then my copy of Seven disappeared.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And then, what was the one he was in, the show he was in, not sitcom, but drama show he was in that they just canceled out of the blue because they decided to hate him. That's what I'm saying is you don't own anything and you never will. And I think we kind of wanted that. Byron had an interesting concept about his idea for Kaleidescape that no one will listen to. No, but you had two thoughts on the Kaleidescape thing, as you've already purchased half of yours.
So my concept was this: lower the price of the hardware and charge for cloud storage. That way you're getting paid 2 times. You're getting paid for the hardware, and you're getting paid a monthly subscription
To store the movies.
to store the mirrors in the clouds.
Yeah.
And so therefore you're not getting the hardware doesn't cost as much, but you're still making the same amount of money plus more.
You said this the other day, and Ian, I should have had you on this conversation too, because it was a good. He had a really good point. It said, the reason why more people don't own homes is it's not because of the mortgage, it's the down payment, and that's the same thing with Kaleidescape. It's the reason why a majority of people don't. If Kaleidescape was affordable, you would have it. I mean, just from saying, people would have it. More people would have it. If Kaleidescape was more affordable, you would consider it, as a alternative to what you're doing right now. Probably not, because you've got 2,173 movies on the median that you've done. But it's something that more people would consider. But I don't think it's a doom and gloom on Kaleidescape, but I do think there's going to be a competitor, if not Kaleidescape doing it. But just to the nth degree that Byron was talking about, I think it has to do with somebody's going to come out with a better mousetrap that does a better job. And if it's even half of what Kaleidescape is, they'll adapt to it. I have no doubt about it. No doubt about it. If you could make a Kaleidescape that was $4,000 that had an 8 terabyte hard drive, you couldn't keep them in stock. You couldn't. You really couldn't. But it won't happen. I think there is something to what you just said. They just went through a price increase. We didn't know it was coming 2 weeks ago because of the processor that's in one of the hard drives that they sell. It went up $2,000. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, okay, we're going the wrong way, folks. We're supposed to be going down with these price categories, and we're starting to creep up again when it comes to hard drive storage. Didn't we go through this at some point in the maybe it was early 2000s with hard drive pricing, but it was hard drives. It wasn't processors. It was hard drives.
Yeah, supply chain issues in various markets for various reasons. But
Right.
at the moment, the supply chain problem is the fact that the supply chains are supplying everything they make to these AI people.
Yep.
To fill up their data centers or whatever they're calling them.
Why does AI use so many resources, Ian? Do you know? Do you understand the nuts and bolts?
Not to a great degree, except that whatever they're doing is trying to create something.
It's processing power.
But even one of these, whatever they're called, are they called data centers? I don't know. AI centers, whatever they're throwing up all over the world.
Artificial influence centers.
Yeah, they use more electricity than like the rest of the world around them.
Oh, I found that was interesting. Somebody was talking about the carbon footprint of an AI data center is about as bad as almost a nickel plant that creates nickel batteries. It's just the amount of energy they use, the amount of pollution they create, the amount of heat
water they're using
to cool. Yeah.
So people who live near these places, they're finding like their water pressures are just dropping.
Where are these places?
They're all over the country.
Oh, all over.
Various states, and some places have turned them down and said, we don't want that here, thank you very much. But very few and far between. But they're using so much electricity that electricity prices are rocketing everywhere. I tied into a 3-year plan last time round, which is coming up next year, I think. But I'm going to be not screwed, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive than it is now.
So coming back full circle, Ian thinks Kaleidescape's going to get replaced or gone because
because I think there'll be a different technology out there.
Okay.
Somehow, it's like it always comes out of left field, doesn't it? You don't know what's going to come along next,
No.
And then suddenly there's this new technology that everybody's talking about.
Yep.
It might be some kind of recording medium that can hold 60,000 gigabytes or petabytes or terabytes on one CD size disc.
Petabytes. That's like Epstein Island things. No.
Release the file.
Release, yeah. No, where was that? The alarm. Yeah, there we go. Now Byron's awake. So yeah, no, I think
He hasn't finished sending that text message yet that he started an hour ago.
that's true. My crystal ball is there's something's going to come out with a larger processor that's just going to be better. But that's not a hard prediction. I mean, that always happens, but I said this last year, I can feel it even more this year. I think it's Apple has been playing with their new Apple TV streaming box. It's supposed to have the M1 processor, the same processor that they put in Mac Minis and laptops. They got to be doing that for a reason, but they haven't released it yet.
Well,
It's
the
supposed
M1's old now.
to.
We're up to M4.
Oh, are we?
Or no, even M5 now on the new MacBook Pros.
Okay, so I'm not. Then I'm probably wrong about the
Maybe
processor.
I mean that MacBook I got is an M2. That was from 2023, so that's 3 years ago.
Well, we most likely won't see anything until September. September's typically the Apple launch, or when they talk about the new crap that's coming out. They were talking about a new Apple TV last year.
Yep.
It was supposed to be released first quarter this year. It still hasn't been released. So again, I think they have something up their sleeve.
There's about between 10 and 16 products that they're slated to be introducing this year.
Now, my crystal ball it kind of goes hand in hand with yours, but it's not really doom and gloom for Kaleidescape. I think Kaleidescape has a niche. I think it has a purpose. And I think they are in for an uphill battle on hard drive and processing, though. I think that's going to end up hurting. I don't even think the territorial regional knew that there was going to be a price increase. It's just that's kind of how out of left field and how quick it came. But and I know Mad VR is struggling with the same thing, and we all know what's going to happen. Electronic prices are going to go up. They're going to blame it on processing and hard drive instead of tariffs. They always have to have something to blame so they can increase prices. And then
tariffs just an extra tax, so you can't really blame that.
No, you can't. No. So my crystal ball for the big televisions, I think they're going to cap at 110, 115, or 90. I think they're going to sell on the 98, but I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to go further than that, just because they're harder to ship and they're harder to install and they're also harder to return. So anyway,
we wondered what we were going to talk about, but we've just wasted 2 hours. So
I wouldn't call it a waste. I mean, he's at least bought like 4 motorcycle parts since
None. Zero. I have no funds.
he has no funds because
Justin took them all.
I did not. I had nothing to do with your Sonos purchase that your wife knows nothing about. Thank you very much.
I definitely can't let her listen to this podcast.
That's true. That is definitely true. Yeah, as we close our Valentine's Day, we all need to say goodbye to Ray. So we're going to say
goodbye, Ray.
Goodbye, Ray.
goodbye, Ray. Pleasure seeing you today. And I believe that is a cast if the button works. There we go. I had to filibuster for a minute there. So we'll continue our next episode with our crystal ball predictions.
And some new mugs.
And some new mugs and shirts. Ian's working on shirts and mugs and all kinds of fun things. Byron's also working on shirts as he has
his little friends.
Meet my little friends.
As you meet Byron's little friends on Facebook. Oh, wait, I did say that wrong again, didn't I?
Yes.
Nobody's meeting Byron's little friends on Facebook. All right, so that is a cast. Lena, Ron, we love you. We maybe have you call into the show next week so people can see that you really exist and how much you love Byron. Actually, there was a shout out there. They actually said they were a fan of Ian as well. So Ian,
So Justin, you like left out, all right?
I am like dog food, man. That's just what I am.
Yeah, Lena, Justin is picking on me again.
Yeah, why they suddenly like me as well?
No, I just said they love Ian. Oh, I love Ian and his
No,
voice.
They just like my accent.
That's just the accent. Yeah, chicks dig accents. All right, we'll see y'all in a bit. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.